If you guys aren't already following the Telegram, the link is in the description. When we hit 5,000 followers, I'm giving one of you £500. So go check it out and let's get into the pod. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. We're back with 3 more points today. We have, of course, got Big Producer Baz, also known as Harry, on the other side of the table. We're going to be doing not really too much talking about Chelsea and Arsenal because I've done that over on Shootout with Eunice. Link is in the description, as is Barley's Story Lab, which is how we're going to still link you or not.
I don't know. I don't see any point, to be honest.
You don't see any point? We might as well. Like, maybe someone's going to follow you, get a couple of extra views on there.
Well, yeah, maybe. I think I've got a new thing coming out, so when that comes, people will enjoy that more. Absolutely. Maybe.
Of course. So we're going to start with, let's just talk a little bit about where you think Chelsea are at. Because I think the last time we were sat here, we were trying to get excited. We were trying to believe that, like, something was coming. And I think, at least I'm in a position where I'm sat here thinking, I think we've arrived now. And I say arrived as if it's like past tense, so like we're already there. So do you have any agreement with me, disagreement with me, or do you want to put me down a peg or 7?
Well, I think like we have arrived in the sense that we've put in a good performance and a couple of good performances now. I think I've been so excited watching the last couple of games because it has been so bad prior to that. The first few matches, like we obviously played well against Liverpool, and then the run we had after that wasn't ideal at all. But I think the thing that I want to see now is us go and play a team that don't try and play against us. And I think I'll fully feel like we've arrived when I see us play a team. I think Brentford's actually a really good test because they're actually a really solid side. They play counter-attacking football. And I feel like I want to see a team that's well organised and plays with that low block. And then once I see us beat a team like that, then I'm going to be like, right, we really can go and get Champions League football here. But I think for now, I'm just really happy to see we can compete with the top sides. And we can beat sides that try and play against us, but it's just that one unanswered question for me. How do we do against those low blocks?
Yeah, and I think Brentford is an interesting one because when you look at the way that Brentford play, they score a lot of goals, but they don't really look that solid at the back. And I think at the moment, Chelsea, we're starting to score now, and I've just got a funny feeling that we absolutely smack Brentford.
That would be, I'd love that.
On Saturday. I've just realised that when we're recording this, when I look at you, it looks like I'm looking in some weird direction. So I'm going to look at you lot a little bit more than I look at Harry, which could be weird for him, but not so much.
I like eye contact. So
I'm going to just throw a score prediction out now, and then I think we can talk about how and why that's actually feasible. I think Chelsea are going to beat Brentford 3-0. Okay. I think defensively, we actually look really good. It's just these flipping errors. And I want to talk a little bit here about Sanchez. I think he's done the rounds this week since that Arsenal game.
You've had a lot to say.
Bro, I mean, I don't hate to be that guy, but I am that guy. I did flip and say it was going to be distribution that would be the sticking point for Chelsea against Arsenal.
I specifically remember you saying it.
And it's also why we absolutely deserve to win that game if it wasn't for those individual errors and moments that Sanchez, to me, clearly shows that he's not a top-level enough goalkeeper. And I want to look at, like, there's a lot of rumours at the moment about Chelsea could be interested in Ramsdale. Chelsea were potentially interested in David Raya, who is obviously now Arsenal's #1 goalkeeper. Ramsdale seemingly can't get a look in there. Do you think we have just kind of undercut ourselves in terms of, like, how we can bridge that quality gap between, like, a good goalie and a great goalie who's going to secure you points every week?
Well, I think when Sanchez came in, it was like, what's available on the market? And I think it was more of a reaction to the Real Madrid loan offer coming in. Or was it? I don't remember the exact timeline.
For Kepa going.
Yeah. We needed a new #2 either way. So I can't remember the exact timeline. So I think it might have been that Sanchez was brought in to be the #2. And then we obviously got a great offer for Kepa to get his wages off the books, which you could see they were obsessed with in the summer, getting the wage bill down, and rightly so. So Sanchez has come in. I don't know how much worse he is than Kepa. I think he's probably a bit worse of a shot stopper, probably a bit better aerially, probably a bit better at saving long-range shots. And he's on half the wages, basically, I think was the calculation they did. But has he actually improved the side? Overall, I don't think so. And is he good enough for Chelsea? It's hard to say because he played quite well in the games before that one, to give him credit. Like, we were saying, Sanchez has been decent. Sanchez has been good here. But then I will still see the odd mistake. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, he wasn't starting for Brighton, so it's hard for me to say he's good enough to be the Chelsea keeper.
That's the bit that I find so funny. It's like De Zerbi has looked at him and been like, nah, mate. And then Chelsea look at him and be like, yeah, mate. Do you know what I mean? And I just think maybe it's a case of we spent so much money and then that next level goalkeeper would have just taken that spend to a level that was kind of unfathomable in the sense of like, right, but we're getting a lot of people asking about FFP. We're actually doing all right with that now. But then you add probably a 60, 70 million pound quality goalkeeper, I'd say, which is what we probably need to spend to get a goalkeeper of the level that I think Chelsea need to convert what is a point against Arsenal because of 2 poor mistakes into 3.
I'd be shocked if we spent that much on a goalkeeper, though. I really would.
So you don't even think we're going to... Because let's talk about Ramsdale. Yeah. Like, do you think Aaron Ramsdale is a good enough goalkeeper for Chelsea to go above a Sanchez level, to put Sanchez to 2, Petrovic to 3?
Yes, but at the same time, if he's not, like, in my mind, if he's not good enough for Arsenal, which is where we're trying to usurp them, we're trying to get to a level where we're the best team in the league. I don't really want, like, a team's second choice keeper.
But is he second choice because he's not better than Raya? Or is he second choice because he's fallen out with Arteta?
I think that Arteta went and got Raya for a reason. And I think, I mean, it's distribution, isn't it? That's what it comes down to. And Raya had a great season at Brentford, and he is a really good keeper. I do actually think that's going to work out. I think he's just in a little bit of a funny run of form. Yeah. Personally, I think he's really good, Raya. So, I don't know, but I don't really want Arsenal's number 2 goalkeeper to be our number 1. I'd want us to go and find our own talent, and I think that's what the club will do. I think we'll go and find a player that can be our number 1, and that is somebody who's maybe a bit unknown. I know that the Spurs got the Italian keeper in the summer, and he seems like he's been quite good for them.
Vicario's been amazing.
Yeah, so I don't see why we can't go and do the same thing, especially with the way we're moving now. I think that's... I don't have any names for you, but I think that's probably what will happen. I just definitely don't see us spending 60, 70 million on a keeper. I really don't.
Yeah, especially when, obviously, a striker as well. The news recently has been that Osimhen has agreed a deal with Liverpool. Apparently, he bloody hasn't, according to Big Fab. Ivan Toney, these links just keep getting bigger and bigger. 65 million quid. Let's move on from the goalkeeper conversation because clearly Harry doesn't want to spend 70 million on one of those. Do we spend 70 million on Ivan Toney in January, or do we need to just wait for this Nkunku thing to play out? I'm
super intrigued to see how we look. I mean, my hypothesis right now is that we end up with Nkunku at 9.
So Jackson dropped for now.
Yeah, I think so.
In that moment.
I think that I like Jackson. I think he's a good talent. I think he's going to get there. But right now, you look at the lineup, Cole Palmer's been a complete breath of fresh air and a total revelation. Yo. A bit of guile in the final third, you know, good decision making, good composure, great technical ability, great feet. He's got everything basically to play in the final third for us. He's exactly what we needed. And I don't think that Jackson's... It doesn't fit right now. And I can really see Nkunku coming back, playing like a false 9, just being a finisher.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the goals, the record that he had last year, out injured for such a long period of time, finished his top goal scorer in the Bundesliga. I also saw that the top scorer right now in the Bundesliga, who isn't Harry Kane, contrary to popular belief if you're a fair weather football fan, Guirassy, 15 goals in 9 games. I think it's 15 in 9 or 15 in 11, has got a release clause of 17.5 million euros, which is basically half the value of Nicholas Jackson. Would you say, if Chelsea are going to go out and buy a striker in January, that could be more of like the risky gamble mould of striker that we might want to go for? Because of Nkunku coming back and playing as a 9, with that idea that he can do it, which of course he can, Jackson is still not a bad player. Isn't playing badly, has scored a couple of goals, but like it's not consistent enough to be like, you're the 9. Would it maybe be a better option again to just buy another one of those cheap strikers?
It's the same as Jackson though, isn't it? So I don't see the point in doing that.
But this guy's already got more goals. We ranted and raved about Jackson's record. Like when Jackson scored 9 in his last 8, we're all like, bloody hell, that's pretty good. La Liga's not a joke. Yeah. But then now this guy's got 15 in 11. But it's Bundesliga again. Yeah. Are we going to pay that Bundesliga tax?
I don't know. I personally don't think there's any point in going out and getting a striker of that profile. Sorry, 1 second. I don't think there's any point in going out and getting a striker of that profile when we've already got Armando Broja and we've got Nicholas Jackson. Yeah. I don't think there's any point. I think if we're going to go and get... And I would much rather roll with Nkunku as the 9, see how he gets on when he's fit, hope that the guys keep developing, give them that time, And if we need to go and get another striker, make sure we get the right striker, a proper big money striker like an Ivan Toney. I'd be very happy if we got Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
I think he's that profile of guy where like he needs that step up, but he's not. I don't know what his ego's like. I don't know about all that stuff, but he's not been at a big club like that yet. So I think it's a bit more tolerable for him coming in and like having to prove himself, as opposed to like, say if we'd gone and got what's his name at Juventus, Vlahovic.
Yeah.
If we'd gone and got him, he would have expected to play every single game.
He's also doing well this season.
Is he? I've not been following.
Started very well.
Right. But he would have expected to play every single game when maybe we didn't know if he was good enough for us or not at that point. Right now, I'd say probably he is. Based on the fact you said he started well and he's keeping himself fit. It was always injury worries. But basically, for me, if we're going to get a striker, we've got to go and get a proven goal scorer. I'm not interested in taking more gambles and more risks. And if we do that, it's probably a financial thing.
See, I think the thing for me that has been such an exciting start to the season has been the night and day between how last season it looked as though nobody wanted to be a Chelsea player. You spend all this money bringing all these players and it's like none of them look like they want to be here. This season, and this is why like the Toney thing is a bit up in the air and ambiguous for me, because he flipping said it in one of the world's biggest podcasts that he wants to do a Liverpool, he wants to do an Arsenal. So it's like, when you look at the crop that we've got now, last few games, everyone seems to be fighting for the Chelsea badge again. The fans are getting behind it. There's that clip of Pochettino when Cole Palmer comes over and he's just got his arm around him, and you can clearly see that what Poch is telling them to do is being reciprocated and understood on the field.
I love that clip.
I absolutely love that clip too. And like people will be like, well, this isn't really a big deal. Like all managers put their arm around players.
No, it's a big deal for us.
For Chelsea, it's a massive deal because we didn't ever have that with Potter. It was kind of like aren't we all struggling here? Do you know what I mean?
PE teacher vibes.
Yeah, but like the creepy one. The one that's like, shouldn't be touching kids, and even if you get your hand near them now, it's considered... Well, anyway, we're going to move on from this one. We could absolutely rabbit hole the bloody hell out of this.
We can cut that.
But I do think... No, we'll keep this in. I think I segued very well. But I think we've hit a point now where the signings that come in, at the minute, there isn't any guarantee that anybody comes in and becomes that I must play every game player. And I want to talk to you about the midfield, because with Nkunku coming back, unless he jumps straight in at the 9, there's a big question mark right now about the shape of the team, because a lot of people are singing a lot of praises about that midfield 3, us included, Gallagher, Enzo, and Caicedo.
Gallagher, undroppable.
That's why I said him first, because
undroppable.
I think he, despite the money that's been spent on the other guys, Gallagher is an undroppable player for Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea right now. By a long way, in my opinion, the player of the season for us at this point after the games that we played.
I sent you that stats diagram comparing him to Odegaard, and he's outperforming Odegaard in every area except for carries.
I'll whack it on the screen for you. It's pretty impressive, to be quite honest, and Chelsea is supposedly a 10th place team, and Arsenal are title bloody challengers.
Conor Gallagher has been our best player for the last few games, but even before that, being used in different roles, he was still outperforming his peers. Even in that first Liverpool game, he had the most recoveries in that game of any player, like 10 ball recoveries or something like that in that game.
Yeah.
And he's playing brilliant. He can do everything. And when I think back to Mason Mount last season, when he's trying to play as a midfielder and he ends up on the wing all the time and stuff like that, I'm actually looking at him going, Gallagher is exactly what we need in that position. And he's got the attributes that Mason didn't have in terms of being that all-round midfield player. And he just looks brilliant, and his engine is ridiculous, and he's starting to show his technical ability more as he gets more calm and more composed. His brain is thinking at the speed of the game, and I just love him. I absolutely love him.
Yeah, I think for me at the minute, I mean, I said it to you when we watched the Arsenal game together, Enzo is not the weak link, because I think as a unit, it's not weak at all, it's strong. But I need more from Enzo, and I think you've made good points to me off camera about this. What do you think Enzo now needs to start doing within his own game to incorporate himself into this Chelsea team to make us even more dominant with that midfield?
Yeah, I mean, because of the role he's playing right now, where it's not like when he was doing good before, it was a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
And so playing in that 2, he looked a lot better. But now he's in that midfield 3, there's more of an onus on him to do more in the final third. And that's where he's falling short massively. Like, his shooting's not been good, and he's not
very poor.
Yeah, and he's not been making the incisive passes. So I'd much rather see Enzo playing deeper and being the metronome and keeping the game ticking over when we're in possession.
The metronome, that's a big one. I love that.
It's a good word.
Very good.
That's what I'd like to see Enzo doing. I think that's what he does really well. I've not seen enough of him to think he's going to be this like number 10 player that's out and out in the final third, creating chances. And like that was, and we've seen that when we were struggling before Cole Palmer came in. It was that creativity in the final third that was a huge issue. So for me, Enzo needs to work on that part of his game. But I would much rather see him playing a bit deeper with Caicedo and just running the game. And against Arsenal, he was getting very hot-headed towards the end of the game. He was being rash. He was making bad decisions. I'm not saying he played badly, but I'm just saying like out of everybody, he's probably the one who was underperforming what we need him to do in that role for the team.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. By the end of that game, you thought maybe he could be that player to kind of galvanise everything where it's like, all right, we're 2-0 up. All of a sudden it's 2-2, seemingly out of nowhere, against the run of the game, the run of play. You'd think then that your £100 million Enzo Fernandez World Cup winner would be the guy to be like, right, let's bring this all back together. Let's knit this together the way that we did for basically 70 minutes or whatever it was, 66 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And go and find that goal. We had a good chance at the end from Jackson. But I totally agree. I think Enzo at the minute is showing... He's got the quality, he's got the ability, it's undoubtable, but there's still that maturity issue potentially in the team, with him obviously still being a young player too. But one player who is showing more than maturity for me, who is someone we've both spoken about a lot, is Cole Palmer. I know you absolutely adore him. I absolutely adore him as well. And I know it's only penalty goals that are going in right now, but like someone's got to step up and score it.
Yeah.
And he did that, and he looks very calm. Took the ball off Raheem Sterling as well, which I think is obviously massive. When you think about Nkunku coming back, it could be like one of those might have to fall out the team, depending on what Pochettino wants to do with Jackson.
Yeah, you were going to mention that before, the idea that let's just play the game, Jackson stays as the striker. What happens with that makeup of that front three? For me, like that midfield three, Enzo, Gallagher, Caicedo is undroppable because I like the balance of it.
Yeah.
So then you're looking at Sterling, Mudryk, Palmer. One of them's getting dropped, basically.
Yeah.
So
I'd probably think Mudryk, but then he scored every game. Like, I don't know what you guys think about Mudryk. Did he mean it? Did he not? Straight off the top, did he mean it? No, I don't think so either. Like,
because everyone kept saying he looked at the keeper, but I didn't see him look at the keeper once. And people want it to be a thing, but I know his coach came out after the game, or he came out after the game and said his coach had told him to check Raya's position.
Yeah.
I don't really care. But what I would say about the goals, that we scored, that kind of is a bit not troubling, but just we need to be mindful of, is the fact that we're still struggling to score clean-cut chances. Like, there was a massive contrast between the goal, especially the second goal they scored with Trossard, and the two goals that we scored, where like there was an element of luck to both of the goals we scored.
Yeah.
Whereas with their second goal, it was just like so incisive, so sharp, great run, great ball in. So we're still looking for that consistency in the final third and that chance creation.
That Arsenal had only 2 touches in our box in the last 20 minutes of the game.
Wow.
And they scored 2 goals.
But I mean, credit to our defence. Because our defence is absolutely phenomenal. It's really good.
Yeah.
And Thiago Silva's still at it.
He is. Like, I've been worried about him a little bit.
Like, I want to ask you about that. Where's this coming from? His age?
It's the age, but also like the times where he looks so vulnerable is when Chelsea are pushing higher up the pitch. And I think us pushing higher up the pitch has been a facet of our game even when we weren't scoring goals. You know, the centre-backs tend to occupy that bang in the middle of the pitch space because we are crowding the opposition half. And then in the Premier League, teams are going to counter against us. Yeah. Brentford at the weekend, if we move forward to that a little bit, like they've got some serious speed in there. That's where I get concerned about Silva. Add into the mixer of that, like, all right, Chelsea at home, Brentford have got a choice here, I think. They either play the way that they like to play or they play the way that beats Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So has there been enough in the last 4 games where we've beaten Brighton, Fulham, flipping Burnley and almost beaten Arsenal? Is there enough confidence, momentum, motivation from those performances and results to suggest that even if Brentford decide to turn up and do the Forest, almost the Villa to an extent, but Villa are actually a very, very good team. But like, is there a worry that Chelsea might have that frustration again of like Brentford just going to sit back, soak everything up? They've come to the bridge and battered us before.
Yeah.
Are you worried?
Yeah, of course I am. But at the same time, this is a great moment for us to play them. We're in a tough run, so we've got to be super focused on every game. And I just see Brentford as a continuation of like this run of difficult games we've got. And I think it's really good that we had that Arsenal game, high intensity, high preparation, high focus, and then you've got a week to do the exact same thing again. And you start to get that feeling of preparing for games that are difficult. And I think Brentford are going to be really difficult. But I think that I can definitely see us winning that game. I could see us winning 1-0.
1-0.
I think 1-0. I just want to. I'd love to see a 1-0 win.
I'd actually like to see a 1-0.
Just go in really solid. Don't give them any chances and grind out. Do up your shirt button there. And you're massive, mate. And then grind out the performance and just play really solidly and really well. But yeah, I think we can win that game and win it well. But I want to see a confident display. I want to see a professional display. And I think the main thing I want to see us take away from that Arsenal performance is just getting over some of the naivety we've seen earlier this season. See the players grow, see the experience grow, and go on and go from strength to strength now. Build on it.
That's why I'm confident, because against the teams that you expect to win, we're winning comfortably and playing well. Against the team that everyone thought we were going to get battered by, we can dominate, and it is that naivety again. Those little individual moments that just make such a big difference at this level. So
we've got to be careful with Brentford as well, because Wissa is a really good finisher.
Yes.
Bumo is playing super well at the minute.
Yes. Draw specialists also.
Yeah.
4 draws, I think, 2 wins and 3 losses.
Right. So yeah, we've got to take them really seriously, and we will. We will take them seriously.
So 1-0 is your score prediction.
I think 1-0. That's what I'd like to see. I think 1-0. I'd like to see a clean sheet and a dominating display. That'd be
Who's
perfect.
the goal scorer? Cole Palmer penalty again?
Who do I think is going? I think Raheem Sterling's going to get a goal. I think in the Arsenal game he didn't get the chance because he was on the right.
Yeah.
So he didn't get the chance to do what he did in the Burnley game, where he was really isolating that fullback and going at him. And do you know what? One thing. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but one thing I'm loving that we're seeing is the different tactical solutions Poch is coming up with for each opposition at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that worked really, really well against Burnley, and I'd like to see it again.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a great strategy. But obviously in that bigger game, he didn't opt for that. Mm-hmm. He opted for Mudrik's sort of more tactical discipline display on that side to help Cucurella. But I'll be really interested to see how we line up. That back four was really good last game.
Gusto. Got to talk about him as well.
We do, and I enjoyed seeing Colwell playing centre back, and Cucurella played really, really well at left back, despite the amount of hatred I've thrown his way. So
me too. I genuinely thought he was done at Chelsea, and I think it's interesting. Like, I saw another stat. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but it's like Chilwell and James. We all think are like the duo, the two, but they just never ever played together because they're just so injury prone. And for me, that's also a massive relief that Gusto can be 19 years old and just look that comfortable against probably the best team in the league.
Yeah, he marked Martinelli out of the game.
Martinelli's also a fantastic player.
Obviously, you could say he was at fault for that Trossard goal. You know, he didn't follow the runner well enough. But at the same time, everyone's going to have a moment in a game when you're under that much pressure. He was under a lot of pressure all game, and he's 19.
Yeah.
Like, he plays like a man 10 years older than him.
No, he does.
It's actually ridiculous. He looks like a man 10 years older than him.
He does. He looks like one of the Mandem, doesn't he? No, he's good. All right, I think that's probably enough for now. For today, at least, we are going to be, Harry and I are going on a little work trip this weekend, because soon on GBFC, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but there is a brand new series never seen before on the internet coming your way that does involve Chelsea in some way. And it also involves Harry, Josh, who you might remember on the podcast from like a year ago, the Arsenal fan, and a certain game that's coming out next week. That's all I'm going to say to you lot for now. But anyway, thank you, Harry, for your time.
Thank you, mate.
Your energy, your efforts, your thoughts.
I always bring it.
And your intelligent prowess in the footballing market. It's been an absolute honour.
I try my best.
Good man. I appreciate that. That's all we can ever ask for.
Imagine not being Chelsea.
As I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you are following the Telegram, because if you're not, you won't be able to win the 500 quid. As soon as we hit 5,000 followers, randomly, one of you lot will be messaged and told you got 500 of the great British pounds coming your way. So if you're not there yet, get there now, and you might be 500 quid richer by the end. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you all later.